All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to some more mid-year reading Scramble sprints. If you are already here, go ahead and say hi in the comments. I believe I will get joined by Margaret and Neva later. I have them already linked, but how's everyone doing? How has your Friday been? Or maybe you're watching this from like after the international dateline and maybe it's Saturday for you. Okay, so how would you guys feel? Let's see. Hello, reading Chain of Iron at 70%. That's nice. That's a long one. Hi, Natalie. Let me know what you guys are reading or working on. Oh, hi. Welcome. Hello, Beth. Ninth Rain. Thank you. How has everybody's beginning of the weekend gone so far? Reading A Room with a View, trying to catch up with E.M. Foster read along. I still haven't read any of his books. Someday. ML, working on some job stuff and reading Mirror Girls today. That's what I'm really excited for. I am going to be probably focusing on Poor Miss Finch by Wilkie Collins, which is going to be our next Past It Classics book. We had to reschedule the live show and we don't have another date yet. But I'm like really enjoying it so far. I've never read anything by Wilkie Collins before this, and it's so funny. So far, it feels like a good one for people who maybe are a little hesitant about classics. I feel like it's pretty approachable. And I think I am also probably going to try and get some like editing or captioning done because I am very behind on that. So I'm going to be doing a bunch of different things. And I did mention at the beginning that Margaret and Neva should be joining us later. Great, knocking out a lot of series. So I have less books I have to get to in August, especially with the amazing readathon going on then. Yes, I am also planning to participate in that one. And so I've already been doing some kind of TBR pre-planning. Like there were a few books that I was going to read this month and I'm like, ooh, but I'll get a lot of points for them if I read them in August. So okay, so what do you guys say we start off with a little 20-minute warm-up sprint? That's kind of what I'm thinking. So we can just go till the hour. How does that sound? Natalie says, I feel like you would enjoy A Room with a View. I read it years ago, but it's been so long. It seems like something you might really get into. I feel like I will like it as well. Like, I feel like I'm going to like E.M. Foster as an author. I think I'm going to be purple. That's the plan. Margaret and I were discussing in one of the sprints that like part of it is because she's one of the team leaders and Little Thieves is like one of her favorite books that she suggested, which I love Little Thieves. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and start off with a 20-minute sprint. I am probably not going to do a fancy timer. We're just going to sprint until the hour and we'll check back in then. I'm going to mute my mic and see you guys in about 20 minutes. Okay, welcome back, everybody, from our first sprint. Yes, we do have.
I'm here. Give me one moment.
You're fine. You're fine.
I'm in the dark because I'm trying to set up this ring light.
Yeah, no worries.
So you'll see I'm not just like a black blob, okay?
I promised you are not. You do not like the black.
You're gonna have to
Team Purple.
'Cause if
How
you
did everyone?
Okay.
blob,
73% of Chain of Iron. Nice.
Okay, you're gonna have to crawl underneath there.
you mean under there? Or under the bed?
Under the bed, Ori.
Well, I'm gonna have to need your phone flashlight
Okay.
because I want to look.
I can get this unscrewed. I guess I could have turned on the other ring light.
Mommy,
That could be.
off.
No, hold on.
I mean the light. I mean the fan.
Good. 10 pages. Yeah, I think I read about.
I guess I could have done that.
I think I read about like a chapter of Poor Miss Finch, and then I was doing captions for the rest of it. So I feel like we got a good warm up in. Yeah.
Sure are smart.
Okay. Sorry, my 6-year-old's in here singing, apparently. Here, Ari, can you plug this underneath the bed?
Yeah.
You have to plug into the white thing.
The what?
Underneath there.
Underneath there?
Yeah. You see where there's like a... If
yeah,
you can't get it, I'll get it.
Usually put it up here.
Yeah, only it doesn't work up there. It's under the bed. And can you do it? Or it's under the table, bro. Can you do it, or you want me to do it?
I'll do it.
Well, it's over, Ari. Under the table, my man, my guy.
Well, I'm putting it under the bed and then going that way.
That's not gonna work. Okay, I'll do it in a second.
No,
I read nothing.
That's okay.
I will do it, Mommy.
All right, then do it. It's under there. Under there. Thank you. I took a nap after my sprints and then woke up late, and I was like, I'm supposed to be somewhere.
I know.
I'm still working on Fourth Wing. Okay. We're on chapter 9.
I'm so proud of you.
Thanks. Ari really wanted me to read Fourth Wing.
Yeah.
It's the prettiest book on my shelf.
It is pretty. It is pretty.
I don't know, Ari. I'm on chapter 9, and the dialogue is not good. Okay, the dialogue. It's not good. I just need to know why.
Which one, Mommy?
Okay, I'll do it. Just wait. I just need to know why, instead of giving us world building, and I don't like world building, I tend to just forget all of it anyway. But the way that they give us world building is like the main character just info dumps it on you.
What's the button on the thing for?
Okay, just give this to me, please. Thank you so much before you short circuit
I'm eating
something.
goldfish here.
Okay, sit down and eat it. Because, like, at the beginning, it's supposed to be, like, a cute thing that she, like, when she's running across the death bridge thing, it's supposed to be, like, cute that she's, like, saying random world building things, but I feel like I'm supposed to remember those things. Couldn't tell you. And then when they're like in the class, she explains something about their military to her friend, and her friend is like, "Thank you." So I feel like I'm supposed to remember that.
You're like, this feels important.
It feels important, but I don't remember what they were even talking about, because like it's not given to you in a way for me to remember. It's just given like you and I are having a conversation, and I'm like, oh, hey, according to section 12, page 295 in our handbook, we're not supposed to kill each other in our sleep. Okay, cool. Also, for a military that needs people, they really be killing a lot of people. Like y'all just like you
Yeah.
could have found and they do have some people that like didn't not mate. That's not the right word. This is not monster smut. I'm trying to think of like what it's called, but they didn't like
Partner.
connect to a dragon. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like
Yeah.
they're like dragon riders. But Ari, if you're going to be loud, you're going to go out, ma'am. Do you hear me? Thank you. But they like didn't bond to a dragon, so they're like back for the next year. There's like a few of them that are like that. So I'm like, okay, so you had to kill the rest of them, or like dragons incinerate them.
Yeah. I haven't read it yet, and I am very interested to see, like, it's so divisive. I have not read or watched Mari's review yet.
I watched it last night.
Yeah.
I watched because I was like, let me just watch this. Maybe I'm just a crazy person. Like maybe I'm just crazy pants. Because like Nell, my friend Nell from Nell Diamond, she liked it. I watched her review as well today. She liked it. I've been told that Bree from Lockbook Titian also liked it. My friend Rainey liked it. So I'm like, am I missing something?
Yeah. I know. I'm hoping that I'll at least have fun with it, because one of the things that I was seeing from people who didn't like it was like they were saying a lot of it is super convenient.
Oh yeah.
And I don't usually mind that. Like if I'm having a pretty good time, I like don't really care about all the coincidences. So I'm hoping that if that is like the one of the big issues, that I'll be okay. But I'm also, yeah, a character driven reader. If the characters are just saying the thing, I'm like, no, thank you. Yeah, actually, the one that I was reading for our previous sprints, The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, I did finally finish, but that world building was kind of like the opposite problem, but it was the same kind of frustration because it wasn't info dumping. It was just like randomly dropping these references to things where I'm like, this feels really important, but like you didn't actually explain anything. And there's like so much going on because it's like sort of Wild West, but also kind of a swamp where everybody has boats. But then also there's zombies, and then also there's demigods, and then also there's like the new gods and the old gods, and there was like this conflict that you eventually learn about. Like there was just all this stuff where, oh, and then there's like, honestly, the part that seems the silliest to me is that there are these like giant talking animals that deliver the mail. Like there's like this like sassy owl named Horatio and like this giant rabbit who's honestly, like, I did not like him. He was clearly supposed to be funny, and I'm like, you can be funny without making the kind of jokes you're making. So it was just, there was way too much going on, and I feel like not very much of it was explained until like the last minute. So yeah,
I
it's
mean, I'll admit, like, there's like funny parts in this. Like, this is not the only reason I haven't DNF this book. Okay. I'm over 100 pages in, and I'm just like, And I know that some people are annoyed by the fact that, like, hello, Margaret.
Hello.
He refers to her as violence. I mean, honestly, this is like
Horrible.
that's like the best part of this book for me. To be honest,
is.
the rest of the book though, I have to do a vlog update for this book. I
that's all it's gonna be, is you just going,
I
see Fourth Wing has not gotten better.
Here's the thing, I even switched to the audiobook because I really need to get this merch up. Like, because I was like, clearly, like, if I'm reading in the ebook, like, I'm not. And
You're
yes,
not
I have every way you can get this. I have this on my Kindle, I have it physically, I have it audio. So I switched to the audiobook so I could finish the merch designs, and then I took a nap, so that's not done yet, but it's okay. And I was like, it makes it go faster to listen to the audiobook, but I don't know that it makes it better.
On that note, do we want to do some introduction?
Sure.
I think probably everyone knows you guys, but it doesn't hurt. I have already linked both of you guys in the description. So
Lovely.
Who would like to go first?
Neva's first.
Sure, I can go first. I'm Neva. My channel is Reading with Neva. We do vlogs. I don't usually do dedicated reviews, but clearly Fourth Wing will be the first one. And I play a TBR game once a month that I made up, inspired by Gilmore Girls.
Nice.
Also, my 6-year-old likes to pop in at random times. So if you hear singing or random moms, that's all. That's all it is. Speak of the devil.
There we go.
Summoned her.
He was very helpfully demonstrating for us.
Yes. Hi, I'm Margaret. I'm the one that roped all of these lovely people into this madness. I'm a little late because we had to go pick up Taylor Swift, but we have acquired one Taylor Swift. We've actually acquired 2 because I got the album, the vinyl. But yeah, we're here, and I am editing videos. I just got back from work too, so you will see definitely a costume change by the time you see me next. Florida is too hot.
Yeah.
It's just
Sounds good. And hello everyone. My name is Kara. My channel is obviously Wild Book Garden. That's where we are now. And welcome. I know there's a few new people here, so hello. As for what I usually read and do on my channel, just kind of like all over the place. I read really widely. That's something that I enjoy and that's important to me. Like fantasy, historical fiction, classics, nonfiction, contemporary. I sprinkle in some like sci-fi and romance once in a while. And I also run the Not a Genre Book Club, which is about reading middle grade and young adult books and discussing them in the way that adult books or classics often get. So yeah, and I do, as far as content, it's like a lot of the regular, like wrap-ups and things like that, but I'm also doing a few more, I guess, sort of creative videos. I like doing like interesting recommendation themes, so I want to do more of those this year. Yeah, and Margaret, you said you're editing, and Neva, we know what you're reading. And as I was talking, wait, where did I put my book? There we go.
Now we need to.
I'm saying
you did such a good introduction, and I'm just like, hi, my name's Margaret. I had to go get Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I mean, that was basically
not a bad introduction. Yeah.
No.
Introduce yourself.
yes.
And I mentioned in the beginning that I am mainly going to be reading Poor Miss Finch, but in between that, I'm going to be working on captions because I am very behind with some time-sensitive videos that are no longer going up at the right time. Oh, well.
Here, quickly, you can say hi. Say hi. There you go.
Hey, Ari.
This is the book I'm reading. It's Harriet the Spy.
Harriet the Spy? I remember that. I watched that one as a movie.
I never watched it, so I don't think it came out in Indiana yet.
It's on Apple TV. We can watch it.
It came out a really long time ago, Ari. I was a kid when it came out.
So
it had to be 20 years ago.
But we
I'm
can
trying
watch.
to get it closer to the light, so
we can watch the new show though.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, there's a new show?
It's on Apple TV.
Oh.
Wait. Isn't there this one?
Yeah, it's this. See, watch on Apple TV.
Oh my god!
Oh my.
You just taught me something.
Yeah, Harriet the Spy. All right, sit down.
And I'm gonna tell them.
How far are you? Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. That's very rude for me.
Do you know where I am at in this book?
You have to tell them. They don't know.
Please tell us.
I'm on first chapter. I got this book for my birthday. My 6th birthday. I'm 6 now.
Happy birthday.
Wow, happy birthday.
Okay, go read your book.
I wish you bought me a book.
Girl, I buy you books 365 days a year. I know, I didn't buy one specifically on your birthday. I'm sorry.
Why didn't you get one on my birthday? Why didn't you get 3 for me on my birthday?
Because
3 more things.
You want to know why?
Why?
Because I'm your mom. I buy you books whenever I feel like it. Everybody else.
That's better than mine.
I let
my own books from the bookstore.
Right.
If you letting me. If you,
Maybe I'll give you some money next time we go to the bookstore. You can buy yourself some books.
yay!
Okay, go eat your goldfish.
I feel that energy. I ask for books every single year for Christmas and my birthday, and do I get books?
I know.
So, anyways,
I mean, honestly, I always my stepmom would be like, "What do you want for your birthday?" And I'm like, "You can just buy books." And then she tells me that that's not like personal enough, and I'm like, gift cards then.
The
And she's
most
like,
personal.
gift cards. Gift cards are not personal. And I'm like,
Hey, mommy.
I'm going to think of you when I use the gift card. So like,
So
how much more personal do you want to get?
can you imagine someone being like, "Oh, I didn't pick out a book for you because picking out a book is not personal enough"?
Weird. Yeah.
Excuse me. So,
Yep. Okay. So, do we want to do another sprint?
sure.
yeah.
Wow, thank you from
So
the
we
peanut
started
gallery.
off with our little warm up. How long do you guys want to go? What do you think?
I am good to
45
go
minutes.
whenever.
45 minutes.
You
Miss
want-
Oh, we have,
Lauren,
okay.
exactly how long we're supposed to go for.
We have a vote for 45. I think that sounds good. Should we let Ari decide?
Yeah, we should.
All right. Ari has spoken, so we are going to be sprinting to the hour again, which is about 45 minutes this time.
Nice.
And we are going to mute our mics and we will see y'all soon. Okay, y'all, we are back from our sprint. I saw Neva answering in the comments with some home remedies for migraines. So I hope those help. That sounds horrible. Cold compress.
And I just want to add to ML's comment because I just saw that she posted another comment. Definitely, if Ollie continues throwing up, take them to the hospital. Because that means that they're not keeping anything down, including
get
water.
dehydrated. Yeah.
So, and I don't want. Yeah, you wouldn't. We don't want them to get dehydrated at all. But I get chronic migraines, so I'm like,
I had a student when I taught drama that she would get, and she knew when they were coming because she'd get auras first.
Mm-hmm.
So there are times that she'd be like, "Hey, just so you know, I don't know, like, because we would see each other multiple, like I'd see her at Sunday at church and all that stuff. So we'd see each other multiple days a week, and she'd be like, "Hey, I just so you know, I feel like I've got a migraine coming on. I may not be at practice this week." And it was really hard.
Yeah.
I don't get aura. I don't get auras usually. I can always tell if migraine is coming because my arm will go, my right arm will go numb,
Mm-hmm.
and it will spread to like my tongue. Like as it progressively gets worse, it'll spread. Like it'll start in my hand, and it'll go up my hand into my arm and my shoulder, and then it'll spread into my tongue and the right side of my face. Because I actually thought the first time that it ever happened, I thought I was having a heart attack.
Yeah.
And they were like, "No, you're not having a heart attack. You're getting a migraine." And I was like, "This is
How old were you?"
the worst." I was 16 the first time.
God, that's terrifying at 16.
And I was at school when it happened. Like I had to have somebody take me to the nurse. We had to call my mom.
No. Why did they have to call
It's fine. It's fine. Go take your shower. And my mom gets them too, but my mom used to get them too, but she would see auras. And my brother gets them. We're pretty sure that they're handed down from my mom, but she passed away before we could do like super extensive testing on it. But I'm like, that's the only place that I know that I would have gotten them from. She would see auras, but I'm the one that like things on my body start going numb, and I'm like, this is not a time.
Yeah. Hello, Ro. Asking about about Speak Now. I haven't listened to it yet. I'm very slow to listen to new music, even if I'm incredibly excited. So
I did listen to it last night when it dropped because I was still on sprints with Bree. But I've not listened. I just like shuffled it. You know what I mean? And like I enjoy it. I like it. But I'm waiting for Margaret's reaction.
Yeah, I've heard it's very, very good. I saw a couple people that were a little bit disappointed. They're like, "Oh, this is just isn't." I was like I listened to mine this morning and recorded my reaction to that like on my nice camera. Because I knew I wanted to do that. I wasn't sure about tonight until I listened to that, and I was like, "Oh, this isn't something I can listen to and work at the same time." Like if the phone, I need like the full 2 hours of no one interrupting me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna react to it when I get home, and apparently after sprints.
Yeah. Thank you for your sacrifice, Margaret. Like genuinely, I appreciate it.
I just like, you know what? I've waited this long. I can wait till 9. I was gonna go at like 7:30 or something, but I was like, but I also want to be on car sprints, and those are time sensitive. I can listen to Speak Now at any time.
You're very kind.
I did just schedule the live though.
Yeah, how did everyone else's sprinting go? I did read a few more chapters of Poor Miss Finch, and I was actually thinking, I think my goal today would be to like get to page 100 during sprints, and actually it's reading pretty quickly. So I think I'm on like, what page am I on? Yeah, I'm on like 62. So I think I can definitely do that even if I am doing other things as well. And I did get a lot of my captions edited, so I just have a little more to do on that, and I should hopefully be able to post a video today. What a concept.
That's always exciting.
Yeah. It hasn't even been that long since I posted. It's just like I feel bad because this one I've been meaning to post for a long time, and it wasn't even that long. But what were you saying, Margaret?
Honestly, at this point, I don't remember.
I'm sorry.
They come and they go and they're gone. So, anyways, because you kept talking and suddenly my brain was like, if you really look at her albums, these new album covers that have come out, each one kind of fits one of the eras that she's had since folklore started. So I was off on that tangent. Because, like, if you look at it, Fearless TV has a similar vibe to, kind of has a, it feels like it's inspired by folklore. Red has definitely got Evermore vibes to it. And then, there's definitely kind of Midnight's kind of vibes almost with the Speak Now cover. Anyways, that's just me. You can see those things working on her as she is creating the recreations of these albums covers, and it's funny.
25 more pages of the Ninth Reign. Why publish an epic fantasy without a map at the front?
Truly.
Yeah. I don't love maps in fantasy books because usually when I see one, I'm like, oh no, that means it's going to be confusing. Because for some reason, it's the geography of fantasy books is what can trip me up. I have no problem with everything else. The magic system, I'm good. All the other world building stuff, I'm good. But as soon as they start telling me what the bordering kingdoms are, I'm like, what? So really, I should like maps more because I clearly need them. But
I will look. Usually, there are very few books where I'm actually looking at the map. I'll look at the beginning, go, oh, that's nice, and then continue on with my life.
Right.
As I read the book.
One thing that, and I need to continue the Atolia series, but one thing that I've always really loved and appreciated is that I don't even remember if there is a map, but it's you don't need one. Morgan Wayland Turner is so good at setting up where things are without spending a bunch of time on it.
Yeah.
That's the kind of geography that I guess really works for me.
That's interesting. Yeah, no, Holly Black does that too. She's got this really gorgeous map at the beginning of Pearl Prince, but you don't really need it.
Yeah. I forgot there was a map, so yes. Margaret, are you crafting on something as well?
Well, so here's the thing. Somewhere we lost a stitch. And so now I'm trying to figure out where we lost the stitch. Do I need to take out this entire row? Because we had all the stitches on the last row. So somewhere, someone messed up.
Okay, so generally what I do if that happens, and if it's not a stitch pattern where it is incredibly obvious, I will just throw an extra stitch on and keep moving.
Yeah, my problem is that it ends up here's the thing is I'll go to the next row and I'll have found it somehow.
Oh, yeah.
Now suddenly I have an extra one. So, yeah. And also I'm trying really hard to because I've done such a good job of keeping these edges pretty even at this time around. They're not perfect, but they're close. So I'm just you know what? I'm just going to I'd rather rip out this row than have the incorrect number of stitches. However, if we were knitting, I would just throw a stitch in there because knitting is so much harder to find your stitches and everything with. I'm just wah.
Yeah. Beth in her book said they keep describing locations of different kingdoms based on a mountain range, and I'm just confused without the visual aid of a map. Yeah, I think when there's so many reference points, it's why even tell me all of this if you're not going to give me a visual aid? Could have definitely used a family tree and Chain of Gold to see all the families, but so far I've been good. I think, more books should have family trees. I don't understand why so many don't.
I believe the family tree is, in fact, actually at the end of Clockwork Princess. There's a special edition that has it in it. I don't have that edition because I didn't get Clockwork Princess as a hardcover. I don't know why, I have Clockwork Angel and Clockwork Princess, the original hardcovers.
Neva, did you say how the sprints went for you already?
Oh, I'm like halfway through chapter 10, so I'm like further than I was last time that I tried to read this book and then threw it in the trash. I didn't actually throw it in the trash, clearly, but I just this book is a lot of nonsense, to be honest. I just feel like the dialogue is just trash. Like, I don't no one speaks like this. No one.
Are you saying something bad about Fourth Wing?
Yeah.
Seriously?
I'm sorry.
Okay, Ari, she is right.
Ari, here's the thing, okay? I'm waiting for the dragons. I feel like the dragons are going to be
The dragons
cool.
take so long to show up.
I feel like the dragons...
Don't listen to her. She's wrong.
Oh, baby. Oh, sweetie.
Here's the thing. I understand kind of how...
Listen to her.
Okay, let me speak. I understand kind of how people would have fun with this book. Because, like, there are funny parts. Like, it's entertaining, clearly, or I would have DNF'd it by now.
Yeah.
But it's very, like...
Do you have a pencil sharpener now? Because I need sharpener.
Go ask your brother. He might have one. I don't have a pencil sharpener.
Oh, maybe because it was Kaliska's idea to use yours. It wasn't my idea. It was hers. It was her idea, not mine.
Okay, girl. Calm down. Here's the thing. It's very readable / listenable.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely, like, easy to follow. And I'm not going to tell you that it's a slow book because it's not. But it's just that, like,
He says that he doesn't have a pencil sharpener.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. Can you go play in your room for a little bit, please? Until the groceries come? And then I'll give you a fruit roll-up.
Can I grab my own fruit roll-up?
Sure, if you go play in your room for a little bit. Thank you. Thank you. It's very readable. The problem that I'm having is all the world building I don't remember. I remember no world building because it's just thrown up on me like it's okay. It's just like given to me in the weirdest ways possible.
Yes.
Also, I don't care to know anyone's names because it seems that if we know someone's name, then they die.
Unfortunately, that is not true.
It's not true?
No, we know names of several people that have not died yet at the point where you are, I think.
I mean, they've not died yet at the point that I am, but, like, I just feel like... I mean, really, there's only one person that I'm just, like, rooting for their death. Like, there's only really one person.
Well, that's because Jack is awful.
It's Jack Barlow, the dragon pirate. I mean, otherwise, this book is fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's
a book.
It's going to be a book that I read, and, like, it's gonna look really pretty, like, with the sprayed edges on my shelf.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be one of those books that people are gonna be like, "Oh, did you like this book?" And I'm gonna be like, "No."
No, I just kept it because people will literally kill you for it.
But also, like, if I sold this for $1,000, someone would buy it. I'm not going to sell it for $1,000. I'm just gonna, especially because, like, at this point, I'm still going to read Iron Flame.
Yeah.
Because I know that this leaves us on a cliffhanger. Because, like, I've seen that. So I'm like, I'm still gonna read Iron Flame, and I already pre-ordered it. I'm not gonna cancel my pre-order.
Yeah.
You know? This is not the greatest book of the year, bro. Like, and
it's going to make some people's best book of the year, though. And I am embarrassed for them.
And so many people... Here's the thing. I feel like this is going to make Goodreads, the Goodreads Choice Award.
Kill me.
And here's the thing. I was going to do a video this year, well, next year, of, like, this year's winners. If Fourth Wing wins, I'm sorry, I will not be rereading it.
You don't need to reread it for those, I don't think.
I
Most people don't read the books that they've already read. They just like, oh, I read this, blah, 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 and here's my video.
And like when I text the book besties about this, Rainey was like, I was like, I'm gonna get canceled on this app because I'm not enjoying this book. Like I literally made a post on Instagram that was like, I feel like y'all lied to me about the hype about this book. Y'all lied to me. Why would you do that? And Rainey was like, what's happening? And I was like, really nothing. That's the problem. Because like there are things happening. It's just I don't feel like most of it's not relevant.
Yeah. I also want to I really like that edition as well.
Of the Clockwork Princess book.
Yeah,
I have the paperbacks.
Yeah, I
have the paperbacks for the Infernal Devices, and then I have a really pretty Illumicrate edition that it's like the linen kind of cloth covers with like gold embossing. I cannot wait to tab those. They're gonna look so pretty with my neon tabs on straight edges.
I'm glad I'm not into the cloth bound covers because those are expensive.
They are. They weren't what I got wasn't terribly expensive, but it also was it was an Illumicrate special edition. And like this is Infernal Devices is the one Cassandra Clare series that I will lose my mind for. Like it's like the Speak Now of Cassandra Clare books for me.
Yeah. Butterflies and Books says, I think this book needed one more once over before it had been published. Also, Zayden's point of view would have made it better, I think.
Truthfully, I think I would have liked this book better if it was a dual POV. I mean, I'm a hoe for a dual POV anyway. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, if you tell me, like, if somebody says, here, read this book, it's dual POV, I'm going to read it. I mean, my exception clearly was Addicted to You because that is not dual POV. And I gave that book 5 stars. But also the fact that I came off of like such a 5-star book into this book is just disappointing.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of what happened to me because I read some like really fantastic books in like the first few days of the month. And then the last one I finished was The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, which I just was so underwhelmed by. I just like, I don't know. It was really disappointing. It's like, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. That was like the energy of like reading that book.
Yeah. I don't know. This book, I mean, I get what she was trying to do. Okay. I just feel like the girlies that really just like read this and just ate it up just ignored everything that I dislike about this book.
Yes. I feel like that.
Because I feel like if you go into, because I didn't even go into this book like trying to hate the book. Like I really went into it and I was like, okay, well, some people liked it, some people didn't. I don't think the hype is quite what everybody's making it out to be, but like I'm going to go into it, you know, with a fair whatever. But I feel like the people that like this book, either one, this is like the first fantasy that they've ever picked up in their life.
Yeah.
It's fair. That's fair. Okay. Or they are a true they are a romantasy reader that only cares about the romance part of a romantasy. They don't care about the fantasy part.
I only care about the romance part of a romance. Well, that's not true, but that's the most important part of a romantasy for me. And it's just like,
for me, like, here's the thing. I knew going into this that it would be romantasy, which I think not a lot of people did know that. I think a lot of people looked at it and they were like, dragons, it must be.
Oh, like, see, I went in knowing what it was going to be.
I went in knowing that it was a romantasy. I like romantasy. That's fine. But I need the fantasy element of it to be as strong as the romance part. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I need them to be equal parts if you're giving this to me as a romantasy. Now, if you're giving this to me as a romance with fantasy elements, then I'm going to expect the romance to be more important.
Yeah. There are books where you can do romance. There are stories where you can do the romantasy and the world building does not need to be as this world that she is building, the way she talks about it, she thinks her world building is much more in depth than it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think for me, like if I really, really love the main couple, I can forgive a lot in terms of the fantasy part. But if it's anything less than like, oh, this is one of my favorite couples I've read recently, then yeah, like I'm gonna be a lot pickier because like you're selling something you're not delivering. So it has to be like an OTP status, I think, for me to
Yeah.
overlook that.
Like El Penelope in Song of Blood and Stone, she pulls off like having like there is world building in there, but it didn't, because it's almost a steampunk kind of thing. You didn't need as in-depth world building to start out in the first book. It was about introducing these two characters and introducing this conflict. So the places we're going are fleshed out, but the world itself isn't fleshed out as much. And then she builds on it in the second and third book. The second, like the way I say is like the first book is more of a fantasy romance. The second book is for if you're like a traditional fantasy girly, you're probably going to like that one better.
Yeah. Or even it's like the Beautiful Ones, which I loved. That is like, that's mainly like vibes, I think, in terms of the fantasy elements, which works because that's what Silver Moon Garcia is like telling you you're getting. Like it's about the characters, and like the fantasy aspects are important, but they're important in the way they relate to the characters. And so she doesn't need to spend all this time setting up like an intricate like world and magic system, because that's not the point of the book. Like she executes what she's trying to do really, really well. And so it's like, yeah, like you can, if you're gonna do like vibes only, or like, you know, it's a background for the romance, like that's fine, but like that should be like that should be like what you're trying to do and what you're like communicating that you're gonna do. Like,
well, and the other thing is there's so much repetition too. Like she's like, why has he not killed me yet? Blah blah blah. But he's like made it obvious to her, like, I'm not gonna kill you, bro. Like the goal here is not necessarily to kill you. Like he's told her that. And every time that they like get into a sparring ring, or she's like conveniently in the same hallway, she's like, why did he let me go alive?
Bro wanted to bone her from the beginning.
Clearly,
sorry. Kara's like, Margaret,
why has he not chopped my head off yet? Like, ma'am, he already told
he's into you. He is into you.
He told you 15 times already. Every time that you're like, you're not gonna kill me, you're gonna let me go. He's like, no, not today. That means no, he's not gonna kill you.
Cute nickname. How does she not like? That's so.
I'm getting like even more concerned for when I read this one.
No man is going to give you a whole nickname and then off you. Like that's
like
not
a cute nickname. Like it's very and so here's the thing. I understand from her level why it is hard for her to to understand why he is not killing her. I understand from her level why this is happening, because for her this thing is so ingrained. The conflict is so ingrained. Like that makes sense that she needs some time to get past it, but he is so far past that, my friend.
He's like, how can I make it not look like I'm giving her peripheral treatment, but also sleep with her?
Yeah, how do I do this?
Bye for the bears.
Without losing the respect of the people who are following me, because I do like he does, you'll see later, but like he's kind of keeping the people in check to some extent. Because he's trying to help them survive.
Third one?
But yeah, I
am. Butterflies in Books said Belladonna by Adeline Grace was not it for some people, but I thought the author did a great job with the atmosphere and mystery. It was vibes, and I gave it 5 stars. I'm excited for that one. And like that's kind of what I'm hoping will happen for me. Like, House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin A. Craig, which came out a few years ago, and there's like a companion sequel coming out soon that I'm excited for. That was one that like, yeah, a lot of people didn't like or they were disappointed in, but I feel like the atmosphere and the setting, like she just really nailed it.
That's the 12 Dancing Princesses retelling, right?
Yes, and like the creepiness she did such a good job with. Like I really liked that, so I'm hoping that I'll like some of the similar ones.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like when you set out for like the atmosphere or the vibe or whatever to be the main thing, like, absolutely, I love it when that you pull that off. It's a hard thing to pull off a lot of the time. This author, number one, doesn't pull that off, but wasn't trying to do it in the first place.
Yeah.
Right. And here's the thing is, like, I want to read some of her contemporary romance, because that's what Rebecca Yarros writes, baby, is contemporary romance. And I feel like I might vibe with that because
show them this one?
Michelle from Michelle's library, we have similar tastes in books, and she really likes Rebecca Yarros, like her contemporary romance. So I'm like, maybe like I'll vibe with this author in contemporary romance. I just don't feel like romantasy is her calling. You know?
I
have 5 more books in this series, 6 more books, however the hell ever many. I don't know, too damn many more books. Okay.
Yeah, you are
That's
correct.
how long the series is gonna be?
It's gonna be like 7 books.
I don't know how she's gonna get 7 books out of this.
She's trying to be the next. She's trying to write the
gonna
next
be next
class.
JLA.
It's not working.
Yeah, she's trying to be the next JLA, and it just isn't.
That like 7 books thing just like threw me. I'm like recovering. Like, I mean, I don't mind a long series if I'm enjoying it, but I would be shocked if I love the book enough that I'm like, oh, I can't wait to read 6 more.
But I mean, but there are legitimately people that are making TikToks and shorts and full-length videos on this book saying how excited they are to read this 7-book series. And I'm sitting here like I'm doing my first read-through of Throne of Glass like ever. Okay? Yeah. I'm on book 3 and like I'm really enjoying Throne of Glass. Like it's fun. You know what I mean? It's pretty.
See, I rage quit Crown of Midnight after they killed Nehemia because I was just like,
I know.
I was like,
it's pretty. So here's the thing. I'm on Crown of Midnight, and I read it in the way that it came in the box set. So I read the Assassin's Blade first.
Yeah.
But I think what I'll do is I do know the other way to read it, and I think I'll reread the Assassin's Blade once I get to that spot where you're supposed to like insert it. You know what I'm saying? I will not be tandem reading anything. Y'all can have that way. I'm new, baby. I'm not gonna be trying to do all that, having 2 books open like I'm back in high school. I'm not doing that. But Throne of Glass, like, it is very YA, like at least where I'm at, which is fine because
why don't you ever eat the bread?
Do you want it?
No.
Then why are you asking me questions about why I don't eat the bread? Because it's literally there for them to put the chicken on top of to soak up all the excess grease.
You can just eat the grease.
No, thanks, buddy.
There's grease on this. Even if you eat it, that doesn't mean you can't eat the bread if there's actually grease.
No. But my partner read all of Throne of Glass before I did. He just like devoured it. Okay.
They're very readable.
And he was like, it gets spicy. And I was like, okay, well, it gets.
Why can't you just?
And then he went on to Akatar, and all I heard from him was like how spicy these books were because he kept coming in and he was like,
I mean,
you didn't tell me.
Dairy is spicy.
He was like, you didn't tell me there was so much spice, and I was like, I definitely did tell you that.
Mommy, are
you? I definitely.
I can't.
No.
I have decided that I am quitting the Akatar series at Akawar because like I've heard things about decisions a certain character makes, and I really like him in the trilogy, and I'm like, I don't want to ruin him when he makes this decision.
Yeah, he was like
in case you need them.
He was very frustrated the entire time that he was reading his books, and I was like, what do you want me to do, bro?
Like I can't help you. Yeah.
What do you want me to do? And he was like, you don't understand. And I was like, I read dark romance, bro. Like I understand. You just read it and get through it. You'll be fine. But like I just don't understand how she thinks that this series is going to become the next Throne of Glass. Like the writing would have to get way better in later books.
There's not enough book for the next Throne of Glass. There's not enough story there from what I've seen in the first one. Like you read Throne of Glass, I can see how that book gets 7 more books. You know? Reading Fourth Wing, like she's gonna have to she just
Is the lady still
Yeah,
Ask your
this
brothers
is
to
like
help.
the next Vampire
Vampire Academy also had a. What did I just drop? Vampire Academy also had enough book for 6 books.
Yeah. This
We
book.
also had
Well,
some
because there's milk and stuff. Have your brothers help you. Ask Austin to help you.
comments on Belladonna's sequel already being out.
My thing is, I feel like the fantasy books from my youth, if you will. My God, that made me sound really old. I'm not even really that old. I feel like those books had the meat in the first book to make us want that many books. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's not even
terrible.
the meat; it's the character connection.
Yeah, like as terrible as Twilight is on reread as an adult, Twilight had the meat for the amount of books that she wrote. You know what I mean? Like Twilight is very readable. Like you wanted more book. Throne of Glass, you want more book. Court of Thorns and Roses, like you want more book. This, I don't want more book, bro. Like the only reason I'm gonna want more book is because you left me on a cliffhanger, so I need at least one more book to know what happened. But I feel like this could have been a duology, and you could just leave it alone.
Yeah. I wonder how much of it too is from like the publishing side of things, just deciding how many books something should be.
So, hi, hello. I have inside information on this one.
Okay,
So this is from an imprint of Entangled Publishing, and they are specifically doing an imprint that is your favorite YA storylines, but with adults, so it can be spicy. Okay, so this is like Hunger Games, but it can be spicy.
Yeah.
Which I kind of understand, like wanting that, like especially if Hunger Games was something that was like pivotal for you as a teenager, wanting a similar story but with adults that is smutty. I understand this concept. But basically they've started this thing and then they're pushing things out. That's part of why it's the way it is. They're pushing books out at this rapid pace. So this went out in far less time than most traditionally published books would go out. That's part of why, like, Marinez was telling us that. And she was talking about that. And I was like, that when she said it, I was like, that makes so much sense because this feels like it needs a developmental edit and then at least a line edit, you know? Like we're not done. This book is not done cooking yet. Like there's a lot of good ideas and good stuff here, but yeah.
Thank you. The oatmeal cream pies can come up here too.
I did officially add a stitch.
Here, I got home, listened to Speak Now TV, cried, and now I'm ready to read. Welcome.
I do Speak Now TV after this because I wanted to do I'm doing a reaction on my channel.
Thank you. You just set her anywhere.
Okay.
I'm trying to like come up with fun things that people can do in
one.
my Discord to make my Discord special and not just like, hey, come check out my Discord and just be here.
Mm-hmm.
So I can at everyone when I have sprints. So, anyways,
Can I give Austin one?
Do we want to
there's only
do
6.
another sprint?
Sure.
Should we ask Ari how long?
Ari, how long for a sprint, buddy?
I think
45 minutes, Ari.
45 minutes?
no.
No.
Minutes.
4 minutes?
Yeah.
How about 45? Nobody can read.
6.
Nobody can.
68. 68 minutes.
That's a little long.
That's too long. How about 45 minutes?
Fine, 45 minutes.
Okay, great. Thanks. He said we have a deal that when she walked out of the
I'll
room.
give Anthony one too since he won.
All right,
Okay.
so
You to share with your brothers.
Yeah, because I
I went through and counted.
okay, so that would be till 20, right?
I think so, yeah.
All right,
Oh,
that's
I'm
what
not good at
we're gonna say.
Wait, 1 minute, 45 minutes would be 15. Or are we doing 450? Sorry.
I think we're doing 45 minutes, like starting from 35, right?
Oh yeah, starting from from 35 it would be 20. You are correct. Your math is right. My math is wrong.
That's all right.
Why
It's always
was that
it's like you can read clocks and stuff until you have to do it on a camera, and then it's like, what is number?
Right. What
Listen,
is
there's a reason
that?
I use the fancy sprint timers.
I know, it's true. That's not my vibe, I guess.
No.
It's just like, I think because depending on the browser, like some browsers make it super easy to share the tab. I don't usually use those. So it's really my own fault, but
Yeah, you can also, well, you would probably don't have 2 monitors, so that doesn't help you at all. There are multiple ways to do it, but do you have a Mac or do you have a PC?
I have a PC.
Okay, so I could probably help you with that one. I was gonna say, if it's a Mac, you're out of luck.
I was gonna say if it's a Mac, to be honest with you, I just use Google Chrome. And then I just open the timer in another tab, and then I just share that sucker. I don't even mess with Safari because they want you to jump through all sorts of hoops and shit. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Thanks. Plus, I use Google Chrome for my workflow anyway because I can have tabs in little folders.
Everything I do is in Google at this point, so I'm just like, we're just gonna use Chrome. Also,
I know. I probably should just accept that I need to switch to Chrome, but I haven't made peace with that yet. But I will.
Are you using Firefox?
Yeah.
It is, from what I understand, a little bit more secure of an option. The problem is like there were certain apps and things that I needed or wanted to use, and you have to use Google Chrome for them.
Right, and I still do that. Like there are some that I know I just have to switch browsers when I want to access them. So we will see.
And you may be able to just open the Chrome tab for the timer, if that is something that you want to do.
I'll have to try some stuff with that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Alrighty, we are gonna sprint until the 20-minute mark.
Yay.
We will see you guys then.
See you then.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. I see that Brianna has stopped by to say hello, and so has Bree. How'd the sprint go for you, Neva?
Well, we're at 28% in this book.
Okay.
Just rocking along. Okay, so I read like way more of this book today than I like, because I told myself like if I could get to chapter 10, that would be good. I'm like, I don't know, somewhere in chapter 12. I don't
That's
know.
okay.
She made it across something or other. She got like accused of cheating or something, but it wasn't really cheating. Well, I mean, it was cheating, but she was able to use a technicality. I don't know. Here's the thing. The way that I just hate the way that we're giving information in this, because it's just her like constantly quoting the codex handbook thingy, and I'm just like, okay, cool, but like after you say that to me, I'm not gonna remember it.
Yeah.
Because like she says it and then like the girl gets like offended and she's like, are you quoting the codex, however the hell you say it, to me? And then she like keeps saying it, and then I'm like, okay, well, as soon as that's out of your mouth, I'm gonna forget.
That was when that one wing leader wanted her not to, right?
Yeah, like because she was like too short to make it across the thing, like to make
Yeah,
it to
she
the
couldn't
top.
get up the ramp.
So she used like a rope and a knife. And she was like, I expect to take the penalty, like the, I don't know, 30-second penalty or something for the rope. Because technically, like, she used the rope that was part of the obstacle course. But then she, like, was able to use a rule that was a technicality by saying that because the knife came with her,
it was part of her.
It was part of her, so it made it across the parapet, so now it becomes part of her. And the wing leader was like, who's like best friends with Dane or whatever. She was like, that was for to make thievery an executable offense, but like also
not best friends with Dane. They were sleeping together. It is heavily implied.
I'm sure that's what was happening. You know what I'm saying? Because like she does say like good friends, like I think she puts it like in quotes when she says it, or I don't know. But also I hate the way that they make like that she makes things for emphasis. This happens like a lot where she like makes words their own sentence.
That's a fun way to write when you do it occasionally.
But it's the whole book.
Yeah.
Like when she did it at the very beginning, when like the mom and the sister were talking, and the mom was like, leave now, whatever, you know what I'm talking about? Like at the very beginning, like she did it a couple times. I was like, all right, cool. But it's been the whole book.
Yeah.
Like find it. I mean, use some like italics or something to emphasize things. Capitalize, like use all caps for yelling. I don't know, but like there's got to be like a different way to. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's really getting better or if I'm just numb to it at this point. Like, because I was laughing, like, at some points. Like, there's definitely, like, fun parts of this book.
Yeah.
But this is... this is not... I don't know. This is... To me, this has, like, a really high rating on Goodreads still, I think. I think it's still, like, a 4-point-something.
Time to bring it down a peg or two.
Which was, like, last week, I think, that I checked to see. And it's still, like, a very high rating. And the rating is a bit too high, in my opinion.
A lot of those, according to Mari, she's like, a lot of those are, like, new accounts that only have, like, 5 or 6 reviews on them. So she's, like, just giving bot.
Yeah.
So, Kara, what are you making?
I am working on I guess it's still a scarf. Like, I'm following the pattern, but I'm like, this is like a giant scarf. So it's like a scarf you can also use as like a wrap or a shawl.
Almost like a shawl.
Yes, and I like how it's turning out. There's like many places where I got off by like one stitch on the pattern. But that's okay because I'm the one who's going to be wearing this and I don't care. And it's nice because I'm using up a lot of like yarn scraps. It's one of the projects that is like well suited for that. So
Oh, nice.
yeah. Are you working on your genre blanket?
I am working on my genre blanket.
Nice. I want to try and do something like that next year.
Yeah, that could be fun. I am on the second book of February, which was Chain of Iron. So I have two more full rows that I have to do, which is actually 10. It'll be 10 rows altogether technically, but I don't really count the single crochet rows as rows.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of want to figure out like, well, I need to decide what kind of item I would want to make. Like if I want to do like a blanket or some kind of scarf, like, cause I'm going to pick colors that I like all together.
That is what I did.
Yeah. So hopefully whatever I make, it's going to be something that I like enjoy using, but I do want to decide like what form I actually want it. ML got some work done in that one. Nice. 82% of your book. That's great. Yes, and that's what you're reading right now. Perfect timing.
Yes.
Margaret, what did you lose?
I have lost my I was gonna pull out my little card to show you all of the colors that I chose for the blanket, but it's not. Oh, there it is. I'm just blind. So I used this guy back here as my kind of, that's been my color scheme for like everything. I love it, but these are the colors that we've got going.
Nice.
So we've got like this kind of orchidy, like dark orchid purple here. This is my historical fantasy one, but like the main colors are 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then everybody else is like a shade of that color. Can you see?
Okay, very cool.
That purple looks so dark in person. It's a little bit brighter. So anyways, yeah, I was like, I'm going to just choose a theme for like the themes that I want to do for my room when I move out.
Yeah.
I have seriously been thinking about repainting though. Very seriously.
Yeah. How did the sprint go for you?
I edited some of my mid-year freak out. We are on the part where I am checking in with my goals because I do a goal check-in first before I go into the 2 tags I'm going to do. And then I also threw some dinner in the oven. And I was trying to figure out why YouTube wouldn't let me post a GIF that I've been able to post before to my community tab. This is too big. What do you mean it's too big? It's just Taylor Swift. Anyways, so I'm trying to figure out why it won't let me. Like I have done this exact like format of like the thumbnail for the video and then the GIF itself before. And this time it's like, no.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why are you saying no? What is your problem this time? It cannot be any bigger than any of the other ones I've done because it's exactly the same.
Yep.
So.
A Butterflies in Books says, I'm both living and getting stressed out by Chain of Iron for what's going on at this point. Hillary read 3 more chapters of Red Sister. I'm caffeinating so I can finish it tonight. Yes, good luck. I always do that. It's like I get to a certain point and I'm like, this is more important than my sleep schedule. Emma says, I bet I know where you're at.
I mean, literally for me, interaction between James and Cordelia, I was just like, is this going to be the moment where we get what I've been waiting 2 books for? No. Is this going to be? No. Is it? No. They got so close so many times to what I was waiting for.
when I tell you I gasped at the twist because of a certain character.
I don't. That could be so many of the characters in that book, and also it could highly depend on where you are in the book. I have no idea. I read this book back in February. I don't remember anything about it.
I got to, I think, like page 88 or something, so feeling good about that. And I also finished the my kind of like first pass of captions, which is like always the part that takes the longest. So we're on track for a video going up today. Very exciting.
Yay.
Yeah.
I find YouTube's captions are accurate enough that it doesn't. Yeah. I do appreciate, like, because I know they do it. They have to do custom captions for like Critical Role, and I do like that they at least go in and they correct everyone's name, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just have found like it makes enough mistakes that like I would prefer to read edited captions, and so it's like, well then, you know, I'm gonna do that.
I don't care as much about the mistakes, but I also like at this point I watch everything with captions on. So
yeah, no, and I do too. I pretty much watch everything, and it's still better than nothing. But I don't find, especially with like book titles and author names, I don't find they're
accurate.
Super reliable. See, still supposed to come out with one more.
I remember when before auto captions were a thing, I remember there were people out there that would be like, well, if you don't have time to do captions, you don't have time to make a video. And I was like, no, that's so rude.
But like, what if you also don't know how to do them? Because I feel like there are plenty of people that don't know how to do them either.
Like, it's one of those things that like, I want my videos to be as accessible as possible, but like, this is a hobby, you know? Like, I get that for a big creator that's got a team, but when you're talking, like, it was like primarily directed at small booktubers, and it just, that attitude makes me mad when people are like, well, if you don't have time to do it, blah, 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 then you shouldn't do it at all. And it's like,
and especially small booktubers, like, we have jobs. Like, and when I say that, I do mean like, I think that content creation can be a job. So like, I'm not like dissing anyone who does content creation for a living. What I'm saying is like me, I have a full-time job outside of YouTube. Like, YouTube is not something
you're a mom.
Right. And like, it's not, but it's also not something that I do.
Like, it's one of those things that it's great
as my main source of income.
If you can do it, if that's something that's a priority to you and you're willing to give up like personal time for that, great. Like, but especially now that, anyways, that just, like, people doing that made me mad. But there's other stuff that people will be like that about. And I'm like, guys, come on. You are then making like the ability to do the thing inaccessible if you're going to demand that to some extent.
Yeah. I do see people's point though, that it's like there's a whole segment of the community that can't even access the content if it's not like, I do think though that, yeah, people don't always understand like the
time constraint and all of that.
Right. Well, and like, that's the main reason why my videos tend to be late is because I do captions, and that's something that I think is really important.
Yeah.
But I do think that if people are going to get on smaller creators for it, they should also get on like the bigger creators for it. Cause it's like, I have noticed a few more people editing captions lately, which is exciting, but it's still not.
I'd love to get to a point where I can sit down and I can go through and edit captions, but I'm doing a good job getting it through to edit my video at all, you know? And so it's one of those things that it's like, you guys have got to meet people where they are, and we're producing this content for free. So it's one of those things that like, if someone is able to or willing to, great. If someone's not, I don't think that should be something where you're going after them going, well, you're a terrible person and you shouldn't be making this thing that you enjoy because you can't make it accessible for everyone. And I'm like, guys, come on. It's a hobby. It's like, not to say that just the other people who are able to do it don't have jobs, but it's just, it gets frustrating when people want to be like, well, if you're not doing every single thing that needs to be done for this video as a small creator, then you shouldn't be able to be a small creator. And it's like that's gatekeeping in a way that I don't like, because it's taking something that's like a net, like it's a positive, and making that something that is like you're using that to talk about people, like to make a moral judgment on people, basically. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think one of the things that's frustrating about it is that some of the people who are very like loud about audiobooks and accessibility, they have the time and they don't do it. They don't, yeah. And I think it's also like, it's something that can feel like all or nothing, like you either have the time and resources to do it or you don't. But I think that there's a lot of middle ground. Like maybe somebody like, really doesn't have time, but they can at least like go in and edit people's names, or they can like I think there's other I think it is important, and I understand why it's something that it can be. I imagine that it would be difficult to see a community that makes such a big deal of accessibility not pushing harder for it.
See,
I do feel like the auto captions have improved. They used to be
much better. But like for me, it's the aspect of, because you cannot do this hobby the way I think you should do it, you shouldn't do it at all. Does that make sense? Like, people are allowed to prioritize their time in the way that is most beneficial for them. And like I said, there are creators out there that like should absolutely be hiring someone to do captions, because they are big enough. They are making money at this. This is their full-time job. So you should absolutely be doing that. When it comes to someone who's a small hobby creator, I think that putting that on them is a bit of can be an unfair expectation, because you don't know what's going on in their life. You don't know like how hard it is for them to find that time. So like, I'm not saying that it's not important. I'm saying that sometimes like there was an attitude at one point, and I haven't seen it recently, but there was an attitude at one point that was just like, this is just frustrating, because like you're telling people that they should exclude themselves when they're, doing something that they enjoy, because they cannot bring everything to everyone. And like, there are definitely like larger creators that I've asked to do stuff where it's like, this is like, I've seen creators that like, they don't read there's a reason I read the comments out loud every time when I'm pulling stuff up. And that's because I know there are people who do engage with this, and they, maybe not, that the comment is up so fast, or like they may not be listening, or sorry, they may not be watching, but they may be listening for a whole host of reasons. And I've like said stuff about that, but I also like it frustrates me when people don't do stuff, but I also recognize that I'm not that person, and I shouldn't be saying whether you can or cannot do something. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I mean, I definitely put out less content, and I just kind of like, I sort of build that into knowing what I can put out in a month. I think also like one of the reasons it can be frustrating as somebody who does do edited captions is it can sometimes feel like people who do make the effort to do them, then people are like, oh, well, you just must have more time. Like you have like an easier, situation. And it's like, no, not necessarily. Like, I mean, there are definitely aspects of like my job and everything that do make it easier for me to like plan for that. But it doesn't, like, I think sometimes it can be one of those things that people are like, well, if you are able to do this, then that must mean that you have things easier than me in these specific ways, and it's like, not necessarily. It's like when people say like, oh, I would love if I had the time to read. It's like, well, you probably do.
No, it's about
using it
prioritization of time. You know, that's absolutely that is absolutely what it is. But like, I don't think you get to, for something that you're not paying for, I don't think you get to demand how someone prioritizes their time, I guess, is what I'm saying. So like, yeah, that's just kind of my thing on it. Like, I think I'm glad that YouTube is getting better at auto captions. But I think sometimes when it comes to smaller stuff, it's just there's like a pay thing there, and it frustrates me sometimes when people are like, oh well, you shouldn't, because like you'll see it with others. Like, what was it, like when people will get like themed prompts on readathons? At one point people were getting really mad because, oh, this prompt isn't accessible, and it's like, well, you can think about how accessible the prompt is, but if the prompt is a specific, like, or make open stuff up so that it's accessible, but there's also like, people can't be thinking of every single person at every single time, and to drag people because they made a prompt that, you know, they thought was good for their readathon and it fit the theme. I can't remember who it was that I saw people getting mad at it, and I was just like, this is a very common prompt for readathons. Why are we getting mad?
Was it the read outside during a pandemic one? Because like, I still side eye that one.
Well, I mean, I actually don't think that, like, because you can read out, it just depends. I don't remember what it was. It was something somewhere at some point. I don't remember what it was.
That's what
like,
I was thinking about. Like,
people were taking it so literally. I was like, you could just, like, you could adjust it for yourself. Like, you don't have to, like, this is something we're doing for fun. Like, and that's,
I think also, like with the reading rush specifically, it was kind of on top of a lot of other stuff. So I think people were maybe not like, I don't know. It's harder to give the benefit of the doubt when all of that other stuff had been happening, you know?
Yeah, it's just people, like, you holding individuals higher to a higher level of, or a higher standard than we are holding our government to it a lot of the time, or like we're holding corporations to. It's like, I get that you can communicate with the individual more easily, but also like, yeah, it again frustrates me sometimes. And it's hard because like the things that they're wanting, things they're important. So it's like, I feel like there needs to be some level of grace when we're talking about these things, rather than making sweeping statements of like, you shouldn't do this because, and it's like, this isn't something that's like we're not talking about some heinous crime here, you know? So we're not talking about something that is a social taboo. Anyways, yeah. Sorry, I'm just sounding weird and complicated there.
It's probably also like, well, like with many issues in the book community, I think a component of it is that booktube and like online book spaces in general, it's kind of like the like talk a good game sort of thing. And I think I think these issues, not that they wouldn't be important, but I think people maybe wouldn't have the same kind of like reaction if it wasn't like, because I think it can feel like lip service is one of the problems, you know, which I get, but there's like levels of I don't know what you would say. It's like there's levels of like consideration, and not everybody can provide the same.
Yeah, and levels of what the expectation should be. I think is very inherent to social media, because social media does encourage a very all or nothing kind of approach.
Yeah.
Like, I remember back in like, what was it, 2016 or something? Yeah, exactly. I'm not a fan of purity testing in progressive spaces. Yeah. Like, when was it? Was it 2015 or 2016? I got onto some space that was like, well, if your relatives do these things, blah, 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 you need to just cut yourself off from your entire family. And I'm like, guys, do you know how hard? I would love to, my friends, but then I wouldn't have anywhere to live. So like, like, people will talk about like, I can't believe that so-and-so is still blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you realize that what you're asking them to do is they fully leave that community. They are fully leaving that community. Like, especially when it comes to religious communities, like,
Mm-hmm.
People will be like, well, if they disagree, they wouldn't be a part of that community anymore, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you realize that some of these communities you're talking about, if they leave, they are leaving behind every single person they know, every support system that they have. And in an ideal world, would that be possible? Yes. But we don't live in a world where it's possible.
Well,
especially
and there's
when
also
kids and stuff.
Yeah, and there's also the fact that like that kind of negates the value of people who stay and who kind of like
Yeah.
Work to do things better, because otherwise it's like, what is the alternative? Is like every single person is expected to leave and start their own branch of a religion, like
every single person who votes blue is expected to leave Florida, and that will fix the problem.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
That is why I mean, like, it's some of the Florida jokes are really, really funny, but like I got so mad when we were at BookNet Fest and Mari was talking about how like they reached out to people and people were like, oh, well, we're not coming to Florida. And I'm like, okay, so on the one hand, this is a safety issue. And there are people I'm like, don't come. Like I would not want a lot of my friends coming to Florida. On the other hand, like some of like the way that I have seen some of the people that I know she was talking about talk about Florida, I'm like, they weren't declining. Like, you're a straight white man. You're not declining because you are worried about your safety, because you're trans, because you're queer. You're not worried about that. You're declining because you're making an empty political gesture. Because unless you are following it up with, sorry, I'm getting really heated. Unless you're following it up with support for people on the ground in our state, you are making an empty gesture by saying, I'm not coming to Florida. Like, they did such a good job of explaining why it was important. And they even brought someone in that she's like actively working with my county and the county across the bridge from me to fight the book bans and stuff like that. So like, it's just, it gets frustrating when people are like, oh, we should just cut Florida off and get rid. No, why don't we just get a better, like, why don't we work to things that are actually going to improve people's lives and make it harder for these red states to, or especially like swing states, because we are a swing state, or we were until DeSantis.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
get the leaving too.
I absolutely, if you are able to and you can, do it. But like, what ends up happening is we go, oh, well, we should just abandon Texas. We should just abandon Florida. You are leaving behind so many people that cannot, that are just in just as much danger as you in your blue state would be if you lived here, but they don't have the resources to do that.
Yeah, it's like, it's the assuming that if somebody is there, it's because they agree. And it's like, they're like, I would guess that the majority of people who would like to leave, it's like, it's because they can't.
Being held hostage by gerrymandering it. Most states are blue states that just are gerrymandered to hell.
Yes, exactly.
And it's things like, if you can leave, do it. Like, do it. If you can leave and get in a safer situation, absolutely. But if you're on the outside of this state and you have not lived here and you're not dealing with it, please shut the fuck up.
Well, that's like, I had people that were, I was supposed to come to Florida to visit. Like, I went in April to visit Rainey, and then I was supposed to come actually like next week. I was supposed to be going with a friend. She was going to drive down here and pick me up. She lives in Michigan. And we were going to drive to Florida. And then when, I don't know, I kept getting messages from people that live in the area of Florida that I used to live in. And they were like, we really don't think it's a good idea for you to come.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen a ton of stuff because I don't really mess with TikTok. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I do believe Florida does still have some sundown towns too. So
yeah, they do. So I was like, okay, like, is it dangerous enough that I should just not come at all? Or is it like a be home
by
street lamps, come on type shit? And there were enough people telling me like, it's probably not a good idea for you to come, that I like canceled the trip. But then I had other people that were like, well, you're light skinned enough, it should be fine. And I'm like, that's not how this works, bro.
No, that's
not. Also, like, my 6-year-old would still be in Indiana. So, like, if something was to happen to me, I'm not saying anything would. I lived in Florida for almost 9 years, and nothing I mean, things happen to me, but nothing, obviously I'm still here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I was like, I have to like weigh the pros and cons, but also like, they're not going to be like, oh, well, she's a little bit lighter skinned.
No, they're
Yeah,
not
like,
going to care about
this
that.
if you ask somebody if something is safe and they're like, you're light enough, it probably is okay. It is not safe.
It's like your racism and your prejudice are showing. I'm just saying, like, if you look at me and you say, well, you're light skinned enough, it should be fine. That literally makes me want to run the other way.
Yeah.
That quite literally makes me want to be like, clearly you have no idea what you're talking about. So please be quiet. Thank you.
Yeah, no, and you are not wrong, especially with the how vehement they're being about attacking trans rates. Like, that is a legitimate safety issue. And that's part of why I'm like, there are people I do not want coming here because I do not want them to be in danger. And I have friends that I'm glad got out. But they also people tend to know better than to run their mouth about like, oh, we should just abandon all the red states and not give them welfare. And it's like, you're literally hurting the people that you should be fighting for if you do that.
You're pretending to care about.
Proving the point that the Democrats don't care about you. So, like, that's the thing that gets me is like, not that people need to get out of the state because people need to get out of the state. I absolutely never going to argue with that. But that we should stop supporting the people that are actually doing work here and the people who are in need here. Anyways, sorry. I do need to go.
I was going to say, it's like you've got something coming up, Margaret. And Neva, you're going to have sprints on a little later, right?
Yes, at 12 a.m. Eastern time.
Okay. I might be dropping in too if you need somebody. I don't know.
I honestly, I don't know. I will send over. I didn't want to send over too many links at once. So once we get off here, I will send over the link.
Okay.
For those, because they are still going to be the mid-year scramble.
Okay.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to come hang out, I didn't know if anybody would be up.
I might be up for a little bit of it.
Yeah, I'm on the West Coast, and I also am a night owl, so I've got you. Like,
and like I do these on Saturday mornings because like I work, like when I'm at work, I work 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. So like to be up from midnight to 4 a.m. is like not a thing.
It's like a normal day for you. Yeah.
And I tend to I do get people in there, which like I was surprised the first time I did it, how many people showed up. Cause I was like, does no one sleep on the internet? Like, but yeah, I'm going to do some at midnight Eastern time. So I think that's 9 o'clock PST.
Awesome.
Yes, it's 9. And Margaret's about to react to some Taylor Swift.
I'm about to react to some Taylor Swift. You'll need to go to my Discord. It's going to be an unlisted video because I don't want to get copyright struck. So
you
need to go to my my Discord for the link. Which is linked. It's linked on my channel somewhere. It's linked on my Instagram. It's linked on my Twitter. Like all of that good stuff to get to the Discord. I don't want to like have the wrath of Taylor Swift upon me, or mostly Universal Music Group. But I will be reacting to Listening to Speak Now for the very first time. So
all right. So thank you everyone for sprinting with us. Thank you Neva and Margaret for joining me. I have linked them in the description, and lots more sprints to come.
Yes. Yeah. I'll be sprinting around 9:30 a.m. Yeah.
All right. Thank you everyone.
Bye.
And thanks to people who watch this back as well.